Have you ever wondered why certain foods cause us to react in strange and sometimes scary ways? Food allergies affect 15 million people in this country. A food allergy results when the immune system mistakenly targets a food protein or allergen as a threat and attacks it. When this happens, your immune system produces abnormally large amounts of an antibody called immunoglobulin E, or IgE for short. These antibodies fight the enemy food allergens by releasing histamine and other chemicals which trigger the symptoms of an allergic reaction. Ed Neuzil, board certified nurse practitioner at the Allergy, Sinus and Asthma Family Health Center, explains how they can identify and manage your food allergy symptoms.
When we're talking about patients that wake up in the morning and they seem to have symptoms that they didn't have earlier, you also want to suspect the possibility of a food-related trigger, because not all symptoms occur immediately after the exposure, and that will kind of have a tendency to throw people off because they think, well, if I'm allergic to it, I should react right away. But when we look at the allergic reaction and some of the mediators that are released, anything that's not normal starts to happen can be a food-related trigger. So even such things as people getting abdominal cramping, unusual bowel symptoms can be related to foods, and this can happen 4, 6, 8 hours after you've eaten, so it doesn't have to be immediate. We have food allergy testing, which can find and determine whether you have an allergy to different foods, and we usually test for the more common type foods. But what I also tell people, you may have sensitivities that are not what we call IgE mediated. So it's not an allergy, it's a hypersensitivity or an inability to process. If I test somebody and they're allergic to watermelon, they says, what's in watermelon I can be allergic to? And it's not the watermelon you're allergic to, it's the protein that's watermelon. People that think that milk is an allergy can be, but doesn't necessarily have to be. You can have an intolerance to where you lack a certain enzyme to break down those parts in the milk. So we have not only the allergic, but an inability to process some of these foods. So when we look at food allergies, I mean, they can be mild, but they can be severe, and it doesn't take much. What I typically tell people, I say, well, if somebody gave you a cup of battery acid, would you drink it? And of course everybody says no. And I says, well, would you just take a sip? And I let them know that it's not always a lot of exposure. It can be a very minimal exposure to cause severe reactions.
To get in touch with Ed Neuzil and the staff at the Allergy, Sinus and Asthma Family Health Center, just click the Fighting Food Allergies tab on our homepage, yourhometownhealth.com.